Alrighty. And we're live. Kinda, not really, but here we are.
We're
Um,
not live, but
we are not live, actually, but that's okay. That's this is not that kind of podcast, but
nope.
I don't think they don't really know what that is until it is. So hello everyone. You have stumbled upon a podcast, or at least the growth of one, or whatever. This is kind of something new I'm actually sort of starting. A while ago, I had thought of this idea I was going to have it all sort of formal, where it was going to have a cool intro music, and I was going to have these very well-scripted introductions and stuff, but then I just kind of decided the more I adult and the more I just not care about things, I just very specifically don't care to do that really anymore, and so here we are. Welcome to the Creating Conversation podcast. There we go. I just got my words out.
Yay!
Here we are. My name's Devin, by the way. My pronouns are he and him, for those that don't know. And I have a very special guest with me today, a good friend of mine, in fact. Take it away.
Hello, I'm Alex. I use they them pronouns, and I'm a friend of Devin's.
Yay, friends. Friends are doing stuff, and we have things to talk about. And today, we are talking about a topic that I think we're well qualified to talk about. I mean, not at all. Let's just put it out there right now. I don't think either of us claim to be any special professionals to be talking about anything and everything that we might share in this particular episode. But this is a topic regarding things we learned after high school. We're both recent senior graduates. One of us is in university. One of us is not in university, which would be me.
Yep.
And we both, I think it's fair to say, we both have very unique perspectives on things that we've learned and grown to know, and probably you might appreciate or whatever hearing. And so I don't know. We're just kind of sending it. I'm just sort of like stuttering over my words, as you can probably tell, but you know what? We're figuring it out, and we're feeling it out, and this is the episode to do that for.
Yep,
so,
we sure are.
We sure
Take
are.
one, episode one.
Take one, episode one. Oh my god. And featuring that no one can see though, but I have a very cool Stitch mug that it won't have been uploaded yet as I'm making this video, but eventually it will be. I hope to upload this video first, but I have an intro video that I have coming up in which it features. Yeah, I know. How about that? It's not even live on my channel yet, and anyway, I sort of stumble upon my words a lot on that video too, but at least it features a cool Stitch mug, myself, and some really cool lo-fi tunes, and so that's kind of like. So if you like that kind of aesthetic, it's there. Who
very
knows
interesting.
Yeah, it is very interesting, isn't it? So, you'll eventually see that. Hopefully, you'll definitely see it before this is ever uploaded. But anyway, so things that we were talking about, things that we learned after high school. I think it's probably easy to say for the both of us that I think it's important to know that your mental health is like very important. And this is very important because, like, I think oftentimes we get all so caught up into our work and stuff, or whatever we're doing with our friendships, or perhaps like romantic relationships or whatever, that we kind of tend to forget not only to check on each other, but like to kind of like check on ourselves. Because, like, I don't know, school's hard enough, and if you're not doing anything, I guess to kind of like check up on yourself and then making sure that mentally you're well and okay and stuff, that I don't know, I can tell you what, it's more important than trying to get that 1A on that really hard Spanish test or whatever it is that you're probably fussing about now.
Your grades never take precedence over your mental health. I know that in high school, especially, not like missing an assignment or doing bad on an essay or missing a class seems like the end of the world, but it is never worth your sacrificing your mental or emotional health to make good grades.
It's just very much true. I can't stress it enough, and I think we both can say, and anyone really probably can just attest to that. I don't know, like, I think we just get all so overwhelmed and just immersed in sort of the work and stuff that we do that we just tend to disregard anything about how we're feeling and how we're doing. But the fact of the matter is you can't really succeed or really accomplish anything until to the best of your ability, until you can, just sort of address your health first and foremost before you can even bother focusing on like your schoolwork and like other things too, or whatever that you're trying to look at. So it's like, that's very important. And I don't know, just please talk to people, talk to your friends, check on your friends. It's really important that you do that. Like, people appreciate that. And hopefully you have the sort of friends that check on you too, because like, you so deserve that, and you so deserve to be taking care of yourself.
And if you don't have the kind of friends that check on you in that, you can always text START to 741-741 to talk to a crisis counselor.
This is true. There is a variety of resources out there too, like specifically like as Alex said or whatever, it was the crisis centers that what it's
crisis hotline 741-741, text START or hello.
And that's there's other resources out there too, like if you're like LGBTQ specific, if you're dealing with anything in your life that's currently related to that, like the Trevor Project that like I personally use, that's a phenomenal service as well, or whatever. You can get in contact with some like very awesome people. There's no like weird fees or anything, and everything's confidential. And so in case like, I don't know, you're at the lowest of the low, like whatever, and you're, at any point in your high school career, or I mean, it doesn't even have to be in high school, of course, but like in general in life, that there's definitely people and there's definitely services out there to like help you into.
You're never alone. You're never alone. There's always someone out there to help you.
And it sounds really cheesy, probably, to say that, like, but it is very much true, and it may be very hard to believe sometimes. But
you probably hear it a lot, but it's true, and I'm gonna say it again. You're never alone.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of resources online, and don't put your grades above your mental health.
And amen to that. How about that? But, which, I guess, speaking about like grades and stuff too, like, I think it's always another thing I think I've learned during my time in high school and schooling in general is everything has a very funny way of just working out. No matter how like stupid tough the situation seems to be, or like how stupid complicated it could be, or like you could be like, I don't know, near failing every class or something, or like that, or like maybe that you think that this one test is gonna like totally destroy you, but like, and maybe it does, but I don't know, somehow like school, at least I would like to think from my my experiences and stuff, like, I don't know, like people, I would like to think that your teachers and stuff don't want you to fail, obviously, or whatever. They're not out to fail you or like to make you I mean, school in general is just supposed to encourage you to like be better and doing better at what you want, or at what you need to do, to graduate and fulfill whatever it is that you need to do. And so if you're thinking that the weight of your future is like weighed upon like one test, like one measly test and stuff or whatever, like, I promise you it's not. I don't care what your state formal tests look like or what your SAT scores tell you or whatever. Like, I promise you're gonna be okay. You'll have a future. Like, your life will not end. Your life will not come to a halt if you do not pass this one test or turn in this one assignment or whatever.
And your teachers aren't robots, they're people, and they understand that life happens sometimes and that not everybody's mental health is perfect. So if you're really struggling, talk to your teacher, email them, meet with them in person, talk to them. They can help you. They want you to pass. They want you to do well.
Right. Exactly. And if nothing is working out, just feel free to talk to your like school officials or whoever. Like, if maybe you
guidance counselor.
guidance counselors or your principal or whomever, and just like, I don't know, just really, even if you don't think it's gonna work, you should always try. Like, that's absolutely 110%. You should always try, because I think you often surprise yourself when you do that, when you do try at whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. And I'm just sort of thinking here. I know it's always really important for me. What was really hard for me, I think, to grasp in high school is like, I was always afraid, like in class and after class, to like ask questions, like from the teacher, because I guess I just didn't want to, like, I don't know if I wanted to like disappoint like the teacher or kind of like be embarrassed by in front of any of my peers and stuff. But like, intellectual curiosity should not be like shut down or anything. Like, you should absolutely ask questions if you don't know something, or if you don't, I don't care if it's 1 or 20 plus questions. Like, you do what you need to, and you ask the questions you need to better grasp, what you're trying to accomplish, because like, that's very important. Or otherwise, you might find yourself in a more difficult position, not an impossible position to get out of, I would say, because like we were talking about earlier, everything has a funny way of working out. But like, definitely, I think you'll find it easier on yourself if you just kind of put yourself out there and just ask questions, and just be open to receiving and obtaining help for yourself.
And if you're worried, I know when I was in high school, I was always terrified of disappointing my parents and getting bad grades and disappointing them. If anybody's disappointed in you, that is 100% their problem, and has absolutely nothing to do with you or your achievements. It just means that their expectations are too high for what you're able to do. So don't worry about disappointing people. That's their problem. That's for them to worry about. And like Devin said, don't be afraid to get help. Don't be afraid to ask your teachers for help. That's what most of them are there for. They're there to help you. And they're not robots. They're people, and they can assist you in whatever you need help in.
Right, and exactly. And it's just, and then, which I guess to further add more onto that thought about like, about not worrying about people disappointing you. That was another thing that I also learned after high school, is just, finally having after graduated, it all just sort of like makes sense now. But it's just like, and it might seem like one of those things too, that you're always told like, oh, don't worry about what people think and stuff, and like, but I promise you, like, nothing in, I don't know, no one's opinion like in school is like, it absolutely does not matter. I don't care what your friends think about what you're doing, or how you're doing in school, or if they approve anything that you're trying to intellectually pursue. Like, if you wanted to try out for like a sport, and you're not maybe usually seen as like the more sporty kid, or if you were, I don't know, one of the football players that wanted to, I don't know, get into things like related to music or arts of any kind or whatever, like, you should totally explore those intellectually curious parts of yourself, and like, I don't know, if your friends or whoever has an issue with that, then they definitely don't deserve any of your attention or like anything like that. You should totally, that's what school's for. Like, you're supposed to like kind of get immersed into different things to just kind of learn more about yourself and stuff. Like, that's the whole point of school, is just kind of figuring out your future and figuring out the things that you like and especially don't like and whatever. So
building on the not worrying about what your friends think about you. I wish that in high school I had known when and how to cut people out. I was very much a big fat liar in high school, because I was always afraid to tell people no, and I was afraid to tell people that I didn't want to hang out with them because I was tired, or I felt like I had to have some good grand reason, like, oh, I'm at work right now, or someone's sick, or I have to babysit. You don't need a big excuse to not do something with someone, especially if it's someone you don't like. If you're tired, you're just tired. You can always just say no, like, I'm not feeling up to that, or if it's a toxic person, you don't have to do anything with them, and you don't owe them any sort of explanation. You don't owe anyone any sort of explanation whatsoever as to why or why not you don't want to be with them.
Absolutely, too, because it's just like, that I kind of reflected sort of on my experiences. Like sometimes I think I was one of those. I felt like I was one of those people that I was too nice for my own good a lot of the time. Like the people I just absolutely did not want to give any of my energy to. Like sometimes I'd give in because I didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings or whatever, about but even though in one way or another they might have affected my mental health or anything in a certain way. And so it was just like sometimes school, like socially, could just be so exhausting or whatever when I would tailor to those that no one that really deserved any of my attention, for one, and just that I don't know, and that just overall weren't contributing, anything positive or grand, like, in my life in any way. Like, they were just becoming, like, people that are just more of a hindrance, on my emotional and mental state, And so, I don't know, and friends come and go, too. Like, I guess, and it's very well possible, even if, I don't know, that, long after high school is over, you probably likely won't see most of the people in your graduating class for a long time, if not ever again. Like I don't know, like that's kind of like the beauty after high school. It seems like I don't know, once you're out of school and stuff, you're not kind of like surrounded by the same people all the time, and then you can just kind of like surround yourself with the people who you want to be with all the time, like you don't have to obligate yourself to being in those areas. I mean, school is nice to finally start I guess kind of have that social atmosphere and stuff. Like if in a public school setting, if you're in that setting, that it's kind of nice to kind of find the people that you click with and stuff and find your community and stuff. But I don't know, just know that you don't have to devote your time to anyone that just doesn't contribute anything positive or enlightening in your life. It's just so exhausting. Make time for the people that, I don't know, do contribute the best and only the best in your life, and never the people that constantly do not like contribute anything. I don't know. And Alex, maybe you have more thoughts.
Even in college, I've only been here for a couple weeks, but I've definitely met people that I don't want to talk to again, and they've definitely tried to make plans with me, and I've definitely politely declined and said, no, I really don't want to go to that right now. And that's really all you have to say. Like, you don't have to make up some excuse. You can just say, no, I'm not really up to that right now. That's all.
Right. Yeah, nothing ever has to be like dramatic or whatever. Like if friendships are ending, or if there's just people you just generally don't want to be around, nothing has to be like a dramatic I don't know, divide time and space, or like
all you have to do is simply say no and establish your boundaries and make sure that people respect them. Right.
Absolutely. And if they don't, then that's just, it gives you one more reason to not give much thought or care as to how they might feel with you rejecting their, offers and stuff. But I mean, and I'm sure other people can attest, to their experiences, but I remember at least these past couple years, I used to hang out with a group of friends. In the summer and stuff, we'd all hang out and like have fires and do all those kinds of things. But then over time, there was like, eventually, I don't know if everyone just started growing apart or something, but they ended up, that same group of friends, whatever, starting to become kind of more distant to me, and then they were just kind of doing some things that I was just sort of I didn't vibe with or whatever. Like, of course, we had to they were making all these sorts of like group chats and stuff that were like, that were like specifically keeping out certain folks like myself and other friends or whatever that were in that group, and talking like nasty and stuff, and just kind of being overly dramatically distant and stuff. And like, there's nothing wrong with just sort of like, I don't know, just sort of phasing it out completely. And kind of like what Alex said earlier, you don't owe anyone any explanation either. to just.
Nope.
You absolutely do not. I mean, just like I don't know, just like Alex said, it's just that you can just offers are made and stuff about wanting to hang out and stuff. You don't have to accept them. You can just decline them politely, or you just and I feel like I'm just kind of talking all sorts of jargon right now and just kind of repeating the same points, but it's just like I don't know how to explain it. It's just like I just felt like that was the big thing. You just please don't ever waste your time on people that don't make any time or contribute anything positive in your time, because it's just ridiculous. I don't know.
Toxic people take so much of your energy, and you need that energy for school and for yourself and for mental health and for the people in your life that you do care about. So do not hesitate. Just cut those toxic people out. They do not deserve your time, and they do not deserve your energy.
Absolutely. Because and probably in a lot of their gestures and in their ways, they're not doing anything. Like, they don't have any intention of making your life any more valued, in theirs in any way, or they're not contributing anything positive. You don't have to invest that same energy into them. You don't have to invest anything into them. That's just ridiculous.
I actually gave a speech on toxic people last Thursday, and one of the big points is that not all toxic people are intentionally toxic. Sometimes you just have friends that are like really dramatic and this huge drain on your life, even meaning well, and that's how they are. They're just dramatic people. It's okay to cut them out too. To establish those boundaries and say, okay, no, I don't want to hang out with you, or maybe I only really want to sit with you at lunch. I just need some space at this time in the day, and hopefully they're all right with that. Hopefully they accept that and don't take it personally. And if they do, then maybe that's a sign that you need to cut that person out, and that person is bad for you and is a drain on your life, and that they don't really care for you as much as you'd hope that they do.
Right. Exactly. And it doesn't have to be anyone. Like you said, it's toxic people aren't always intently malicious, probably, or anything, that are because just in those same manners they're just normally dramatic, or normally just unfortunately crude, or they're just, or whatever it is. And it doesn't matter if anything's intentional for them to, or not, for them to kind of drain on your vessel of energy, to carry out your everyday tasks or whatever that you invest in emotionally, physically, whatever. It's just totally not worth your time and energy. And
even if it is unintentional, you're still allowed to be mad at them about it. That was one of my big things, was if someone in my life had done something and they'd hurt me, but they'd had what I thought was a good excuse behind it, or they were in a bad place, and that makes sense. Even siblings of mine, if they did something and all right, looking back on it, I can see why they did it, or why they didn't realize it was going to hurt me, and I shouldn't be mad about it. You're gonna need to feel those feelings, and you're gonna need to let yourself be mad about it. And obviously don't go out and sabotage this person's life or anything, but you're allowed to quietly feel emotions, even if you feel like those emotions are wrong. Just sometimes it's better to just let yourself get it out. I wish I had known that back when I started high school.
Absolutely. And I think I feel like I sympathize with that too, because I feel like even if situations transpired amongst friends or old friends or family or whatever, it's just maybe in whatever that situation is, maybe you were in the wrong or maybe not in the wrong, but I mean, either way, no matter what side of the coin you're on and whatever the situation might be, I mean, your feelings are 110% absolutely valid. If you're a living, breathing soul with a heart that beats and everything, absolutely, your feelings and anything that, anything that you're experiencing is 110% valid, whether it is deemed righteously correct or not, or whatever. It's just, I don't know. It's really not. I don't think intelligent to say that just because someone was maybe wrong, maybe deemed as I don't know wrong in their end of the situation doesn't mean that they don't have the right to feel the feelings that they have or whatever. Like assuming that they don't have a heart and soul and that they don't experience any emotion because they were maybe deemed wrong in whatever the situation is. So
and there's no rush to forgive people either. I know that I was always like, the first step to moving on from anything is to forgive this person for what they've done. The last step to moving on is forgiving that person for what they've done. You have to go through all of the emotions first, because if you force yourself to forgive them, then you won't be able to feel those, and they're still going to be under the surface, and they're going to bottle up, and they're going to one day explode, and the person is going to be very confused as to why you're yelling at them about something that has happened years ago. So no rush to forgive anybody, and don't bottle up your emotions. You just let yourself feel, let yourself be mad or sad or whatever you're feeling, just feel it, and no rush to forgive anybody for anything. You're allowed to be as petty as you want and as angry as you want for as long as you want over whatever you want. Just feel your emotions.
Amen to that, because I don't know, that's just it's just kind of leading back to your mental health a little bit too, because you kind of have to to take care of yourself and to better understand why you're feeling the way that you are or whatever, and why why the situation makes you as upset or whatever as it does, or as mad or as confused, or anything. And just so it's just important that you address those, no matter again, no matter what side of the coin you're on in this situation or whatever. It doesn't matter. There's no rules. You're feeling, whether or not you may think so, your feelings and emotions don't really care either. They're gonna come, and if they're gonna come, you might as well should allow yourself to feel those things, no matter what it is. So, that's for sure. Or I don't know, our emotions don't wait on us or cease from existing because we don't want them to exist. We gotta acknowledge them, of course, or whatever, and that's just overall better for you, I think we can say.
And that includes parents and family members. You're allowed to be mad at them for whatever reason, and you're allowed to establish boundaries. If a parent or a sibling or something is going in your room and you don't want them in there, you're allowed to establish that boundary and say that you don't want them in your room, and they should respect it as someone who loves and respects you.
Right, exactly. And I know some people out there that may or may not be listening to this or whatever, but I don't know, maybe you probably have been dealing with some really toxic family members or anything yourselves. I don't know, sometimes I think, this might be a diverse audience where some of us may come from really rough home lives and stuff or whatever, and different things of that nature. And I think you just need to know that, just as Alex said, you should set your boundaries. It doesn't really matter if it's blood or not. Blood does not factor.
Blood doesn't mean anything. Blood doesn't.
Yeah, it absolutely doesn't. It's not a valid excuse to sabotage your security. Your self-security and your feelings and your boundaries and stuff. It doesn't give anyone the right to treat you worse or to degrade you in any way just because they're of blood or whatever, which is it's the most ridiculous notion, but I think it's one that I have carried, and that's one that I've probably many people carry as well as that.
I carried it for sure. But yeah, blood does not mean anything, and I wish I'd known that back in high school. You're allowed to establish boundaries with people that you're related to. You're allowed to cut toxic relatives out. You're allowed to cut toxic parents and siblings out, as long as you can do so safely. Don't ever jeopardize your own safety, obviously, but If you're in a safe place and will be better off cutting out someone, even if they are related to you, just know that them being related to you is no excuse for anything that they've done.
Mm-hmm.
You're allowed to cut them out. You're allowed to be mad. You're allowed to not want to forgive them.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And granted, I mean, family and stuff and friends, we fight and stuff, and that's bound to happen in all types of relationships and stuff, like, but it's important to recognize when it's just kind of like a passing moment in time, and then or if this is like something that happens like continuously, where you're always put in this very uncomfortable, degrading situation with either people who are supposedly your friends or like family. Like, you just obviously you don't want to keep people out because of like silly things or whatever, but also just just recognize kind of like the seriousness of the situation. If this is something that's like a repeated, like ongoing feeling, like forever, then it's probably something to address. If that involves removing people from your life and stuff, and like taking any and all, I don't know, protocols, if you will, to like just to remove those sorts of people and to put yourself in a much more better situation than you're already in, because just as we said, it's not blood or anything is not worth sabotaging your sense of safety, your sense of self-worth and everything of that nature. So it's just very important.
High school is going to be hard enough without toxic people in your life, so you might as well get rid of them now.
Exactly. This is so true. Because I kind of felt like a lot of my stresses in high school too were just, the majority of it was social. Like, after high school, like, none of the cliques, like whoever were the popular kids at the time or whoever was like the top of your class, like, none of that really matters. No. Like, I don't know, it's just like none of that actually ever really mattered a lot. I mean, obviously that, like, in schools and stuff, that can create like some social, unhealthy social climate or whatever, but once you're out of high school and stuff, that's anything that you spent your time on in high school and the people you surrounded with or whatever, that's, those are the experiences that, I don't know, are worth more, because it's like you're more directly impacted and it's more relevant to your life, like the classes you take and stuff, and I don't know, the people you surround yourself with. It's just those matter more, I guess, than whoever were the popular kids at school and stuff. Like, no one cares about those statuses after high school. No one cares about anything.
The second after graduation, it will not matter anymore. So I don't know why it should matter any second before graduation.
Exactly. Like, I don't know. I don't care if you're like anyone like me, that I kind of felt like I was sort of like mostly somewhat of a social outcast in like my schools and stuff or whatever, but like, or if you're like, I don't know, like, it just, I don't know, if you don't, I promise you there are like there are people and there are things for you out there or whatever, that it doesn't matter. You don't have to meet up to anyone's expectations and stuff to be in any sort of groups or whatever, like the popular kids or anything. No, again, as Alex said, the second graduation, after graduation, like, nothing absolutely matters. It's what you decide to do with you and your future and the people you surround yourself with. That's pretty much all that matters.
Yep. Prom queen. Who was prom queen? Who was prom king? I don't even remember the names of the prom queen and king. Like, none of that stuff matters. Your social status, I would say, amongst the other high school kids is not important at all. And I definitely wish I'd known that sooner in high school. Like, you shouldn't be worried about what other people think of you, or what other people think of what you're wearing, or how your hair is, or what you look like, or if you have acne. Like, no one cares at all about your acne. Okay, they're all worried about their own acne, so you can relax knowing that no one is looking at your acne or your t-shirt or your brushed or unbrushed hair. Like, it's all gonna be okay. Just focus on your work, focus on taking care of yourself and on maintaining your mental health, and get through high school and get it done, and it's all gonna be okay in the end, I promise.
It absolutely will. And Alex brought up actually a very important point. A lot of the time, I think it's fair to say, if you're probably even listening to this right now, you're like, just as you are thinking about, all the sorts of anxieties you have about like what people might think of you, or like how you might dress, or how you might act, or portray yourself, or whatever. More than likely, the majority of people are also, whether or not they show it, is like probably thinking the sort of the same things as you are, and everyone's probably in some degree just as anxious as you are about those very same things. Like, I don't know, like whether or not people admit that, or I think the majority of people, I'm willing to bet, I don't know, just kind of like sort of share those very same like anxieties about things or whatever, about how people might perceive them and stuff and whatever. And again, it none of it matters or whatever. For that reason, everyone's trying to think about themselves and trying to, I don't know, meet their desired expectations or whatever, and just, it honestly doesn't matter what anyone.
Let's put it this way. Have you ever been in a class waiting to give a speech? Well, I'm sure everybody in here has been, whoever listening has been in a class waiting to give a speech, listening to someone else give a speech. I highly doubt that you paid any attention to a word of that person's speech. It's exactly the same with you. No one in your classroom audience is going to be paying any attention to your speech, because they're going to be too worried about their speech or how they just did on their speech. And it's the same thing every day with every aspect of life that you're worried about. Like how you look, how you talk, how you dress, how you act. Everybody else is just as worried, and they're too busy focusing on themselves to give you a second thought if your hair is messy or not.
Exactly. And that was like the perfect, oh, God forbid, I should have probably paid attention more in school. They call that an analogy?
Yes.
Analogy, right? Yes. Okay, I knew what I was talking about. I paid attention to something in high school, but oh, God. But no, that was perfect. I love that. Phenomenal job. I'm giving you a clap over here, because that was like, I love that. I don't know if I could have came up with anything myself. Yeah, better myself. But basically, yeah, that's just the gist of it. Like, I don't know, everyone's just too worried about themselves probably anyways, as it is. And if they are worried about you and what you're doing and stuff, I don't know, that kind of reflects a lot about their personality, is like why, or their existence is just like, I don't know, why are you so worried about, I don't know, why are they so worried about you and not anything that's going on in their individual lives and stuff, that they have to go out of their way to like make you feel weird and stuff about the actions or anything that you like to are pursuing in school, or like casually in your own free time, or whatever, or literally anything. Like, if they're, I don't know, there's just so pretty much,
yeah.
Summary on that point is just that, everyone's worried about themselves, and if they are paying attention to you, that they're probably not well invested in themselves, and that shows a lot on their person,
Anybody that is worried about you is not someone that you should be worried about. So
yes,
don't worry about it.
Exactly. And it's just, I don't know, high school, man. I think that was just probably one of the most weirdest times in high school. Was one of the best, but almost worst times sometimes, was just mostly the social aspect. I just felt in my experiences, because there was always, everything was very double, I don't know if you say double standard, but everything had its like loopholes or whatever socially. Like, I don't know, like kind of like what we were talking about earlier, like, oh, this person doesn't make me feel okay or whatever, they make me feel like, absolute garbage and stuff, and they make you feel very insecure. They make me very anxious about everything and anything that I do. But of course, I have to go along with it because I don't want to hurt their feelings and stuff like that kind of thing, or whatever.
You don't have to go along with it. You don't have to go along with anything.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to go along with anything, and that was just the most annoying thing, was just trying to learn all this sort of social stuff or whatever, and trying to accept that during high school, because that just is like, it just seems like the normal, I don't know, socially cultural norm, at least in like a public school setting, which I think it's fair to say. At least I've only ever been in a public school setting. I don't know, Alex. I think
I've only ever been in public schools. I was homeschooled for a couple of years, but other than that, all public schools for me.
Right. So obviously we can only attest to so much, but I don't know. That just always seemed like the setting in like little public school stuff. But I don't know, man. It's just the social stuff was the stuff that got me the most. I have to say. But
I was sort of on the grade side of things. That was what really got to me, was like worrying about my grades and getting 100 on everything and getting an A in every class on every assignment. And it's not as important as anybody makes it out to be. Like, one test is not going to affect your grade that much, and 2 tests are not going to get you kicked out. Like, 2 tests aren't going to screw your entire future. 3 tests aren't going to screw your entire future. It just doesn't matter as much as anybody pretended it mattered. It's high school, like, once you're out of high school, you will definitely be able to look back and see how stupid all of it was. Because it really was dumb. And like, you'll look back at yourself and wonder why you were so worried about everything. So there's no reason to stress over tests. There's no reason to stress over assignments or essays or who you're going to get assigned with in a group project. Like, you're just gonna have to deal with it. That's life, and that's high school. It sucks, but you'll get out of there someday.
Yeah, and all things, I guess, the sentiment I always carried, and it's just like, all things are temporary, and so eventually, that stupid group project you have to do with, a few folks you don't like, or that one test that you're having like a whole like weight of the world amount of anxiety on your shoulders about passing or whatever. It's just it will too pass. I promise. And
I remember my sophomore year being so worried about the calculus final, and I took the calculus final, and I don't even remember what I got on the calculus final. Like, that's how little it matters now. The calculus final did not affect me getting into or getting kicked out of university or anything like that. Like, not doing well on the calculus final absolutely would not have prevented me from getting into university, and not doing well on the calculus final wouldn't have murdered me in my sleep. Like, the calculus final did not matter at all.
Right. And I think, on that note, that just kind of had me sort of thinking too, is that I don't know, there's definitely more opportunities in high school and stuff than you think or whatever. Like, what kind of like what Alex said, if you don't pass that one calculus final or whatever, like, that's not the determining factor of whether or not you succeed like in life, or you make it to that one university you always want to pursue, or if it's even university you want to go into. This was one of the things that really made me a little bit anxious, a lot anxious actually, in high school. Was just like, in my mind I always thought like, and I think the general expectation probably is like, once you're out of high school you immediately need to be in university or whatever. And for a lot of people that makes sense, and that's like totally okay. I'm not bashing that by any means, but like, I know even towards the end of my senior year, I generally know what I want to do. Like, I want to, at least at this point in my life, I want to pursue a career in like graphic design and stuff. But to go about that or whatever, I was, even up until graduation, I wasn't 110% on, I want to go to this school or anything like that. And I was really anxious about like I don't know, being very economically invested in a school that I was only like half thinking about. So like I just altogether after my senior year for the moment I've just joined the workforce and stuff until I can finally like sort of just take a bit of time just kind of figure out what I want to do. And like there are so many options. You can go into university and there's like various like more than you think, like various financial aid opportunities and stuff, and there's variations of different like I don't know, universities such as technical schools, you know, focus on your like trade, or you could go to like liberal arts and kind of explore various other different fields of study. And like I don't know, I just felt like that was always the big pressure senior year, that I just had to have everything finally figured out and stuff by the time I finally walked out those doors for graduation. And the truth be told, I didn't. And I'm figuring it out still, but like,
yeah,
if that's what you got to do, like there's nothing wrong with that. And unfortunately, I felt like that was like the tone of high school, was just like, oh, I absolutely have to get this figured out, because it's like, but
I definitely felt that too, and I felt like I had everything figured out, and I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do and whether or not I wanted to go to college. I'm in college, and I'm still not sure if I want to go to college. I still don't know what major I want to do. Like, you don't have to know everything, and I don't know everything, and Devin doesn't know everything. Nobody knows everything. You're allowed to figure it out as you go. That's what I'm doing, and I definitely have friends that aren't going to college at all. I have some that are going to college later. I have some going to trades schools, some going to community college. People of all different walks of life doing all different things. No major is ridiculous. No major is, something you can't ever get a job in. Just do something you like, and it's gonna work out in the end.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities like in the world than I think most people think, and I always found that very discouraging. I mean, like specifically, like I know with the arts and stuff, that gets, I don't know, kind of frowned upon when anyone pursues any career and stuff like arts related, because it's like, oh, it might not be deemed the most realistically profitable job or whatever that you can sustain a living on or whatever. And whether or not that's true, I again, we don't know everything. I don't know everything. But I feel like if you're genuinely passionate about something, you kind of genuinely take the time to do the research, to research your field of study, your industry, and the kind of work that you want to do. Like somehow, I don't know. I just think it's not at all to think unrealistically. I mean, you got to do your homework for sure, and just kind of figure out how what it all entails. But I don't know. I think you can pretty much do anything given time and given a lot of research. And you just got to definitely consider everything, the sort of lifestyle you want, and kind of the things that matter to you, and whatever, and what's available in your area, or what's available in other, or wherever it is in the world, and just kind of like, I don't know, just explore. Like, until
and you're allowed to have a different job than what your major was. Like, if you decide, I really want to learn, maybe you're like really into history and you want to be a history major, and you go and you get a history degree, and then you realize that you don't want a history job. You don't have to have a history job. Just because you have a degree in something doesn't mean that that's your work for the rest of your life. There's other jobs out there that don't require a history degree. You can be whatever you want to be, and you can go to school for whatever you want to go to school for, and those can be independent of one another. Your degree may not affect your job at all, or it might not affect your main source of income. Like, if you do want to be an actor, you could be an actor on the side. You could be a writer on the side. You could be a writer for Maine and do something else on the side. If you like working in a coffee shop, you could work at a coffee shop on the side. You can do anything you want on the side. It doesn't have to be your main job, and what you major in doesn't have to be your main job either.
Exactly. And I think I feel like the impressions we get sometimes in high school, whether or not it's like intentionally forced into our brains or anything like that, but that we have to like have these fixed paths in our lives or whatever, and I think it's fair to say like every passing day, like so much in our lives is probably changing.
Yeah.
You know, and so we're just, I don't know, we're, you know, humans, I think, we're just very complicated creatures, if you will. We're always constantly figuring out and exploring different things, and it's like totally okay to like, you don't have to, as Alex said, you don't have to, just because your major is this doesn't mean you have to have a career related to that or whatever. Like you can totally, I don't know, life, I just found out I just feel like after graduating, not what I feel like this is what it is. Like your life is what you make of it after your whole experience in high school, and it's not at all what your friends and family expect it out of you, you know. And it's not at all based on what your major is in college, if you go to college, or maybe the job you're currently working or whatever. Like it's, I don't know, it's all, life is all in what you make of it and what you pursue. And no one should dictate, or I don't know, nothing should have that complete authority over what it is that you do or want to pursue. So it's like, I don't know, it's just, there just should be, I don't know, I just felt that after high school, I just kind of having a lot of time to reflect too. It's just like, it just doesn't matter. You don't have to stick to those fixed paths and stuff. Like you might, like maybe in high school, you might have thought to think like, oh, I absolutely have to go about this route, like full send. It has to be this and only this. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I always had, like, everybody in my life told me that I would never get a job and I would never make a living if I didn't go to university. I wish someone had told me that I didn't have to go to university, and I did obviously end up going to university, but that was because I chose to, not because anybody in my life was like, oh, you gotta go to university or you'll never get a job. Like, there are jobs that don't require college degrees. You do not have to go to college if you do not want to go to college. Don't let anybody pressure you. It's a big decision. It's a lot of work, and if you don't feel that the work that you're putting in is going to be worth it in the long run, if you majored in something you didn't like, if you let someone push you into college, then you're not going to be able to put in that work. You can't do the work required at college if you don't think it's going to be worth it. So you have to know going in that it's going to be hard, but it's going to be worth it. And if you're not thinking that, and you're not able to think, okay, yes, this will all work out in the end and it's going to be worth it, then you may need to reevaluate your choices here and pick a new major or drop out entirely. You know, you don't owe your parents anything, and you don't owe anyone at the school anything, and you're allowed to do whatever you want to do.
Exactly. And trying to grab my thoughts here. Okay, here we go. We got it. Yeehaw. Yeah. All right, so I don't know. It was just always so crazy to me because in high school, it's just like when you're, you know, we were talking about like the pressures of having to like go to university or anything like, or having to pursue this specific career path or whatever. Like, it's kind of, I don't know if mundane's the word to use for it, for people or for anyone to have that authority, because when you're pursuing at least college, or, you know, like you're investing not only so much money into it, and, you know, money is the necessary evil that you know, keeps us thriving in this world and whatever, but like you invest so much of your energy and your time and your I don't know, and it just, I don't know, nothing is, you know, nothing that takes away that much from a person, you know, financially, emotionally, you know, mentally and everything, like anything, it should be all that, if, you know, all that's going to be taken, it should be from something that you're totally 110% on, or whatever, that it doesn't feel like it's taking away from the experience, but rather, you know, contributing to your overall quality of life. And so I guess, you know, if you ever want to go to university and stuff, if that's a path you choose, or if you go to the workforce, or if you go to the military or whatever. What's that?
I don't know if you could hear that over the phone. My alarm just went off.
Oh, no, that's okay.
Because I forgot I had that set.
No, you're good. No, you're fine. I didn't even hear it, to be honest. I don't know. So we were actually, so yeah, we're good. I know.
Whoops.
No, it'd be like that sometimes.
It do.
As the kids say. But
my degree personally is going to be 5 years of my life. That's a lot of my life. That's a fourth of my life so far, but again. And that's a big investment of time, that's a big investment of money, and it's a bigger investment of money than you might think. Because while I'm in college, someone who isn't in college will be able to work and make money. And if they're making $20,000 a year, then I'm losing, in addition to what I have in student loans, the $20,000 that I could have made if I wasn't in university. So if you're going to go into university, you have to be going in for the right reasons. If you're going into it because lawyers make a lot of money and you want a lot of money, so you're going to be a lawyer, I have some bad news for you, man, because that's not going to work out well for you. I'm personally here because I want to help kids. I'm going to be a speech pathology major, and I'm going to work in a school, assuming that I still want to do that by the end of my degree. Then I'll be working in school and I'll be helping kids, and that's why I'm here. That's why I'm investing 5 years of my life and a lot of money. And you need to, before you go in, you need to know your reason for being here or for not being here. It's just a very important thing to get straight.
Right. Absolutely. So, I mean, if it even takes as much time as even after high school, I don't know, whoever's listening, if it's your freshman year or if your senior year right now and you're still kind of having some conflicted thoughts and stuff, just, I promise you, you're going to be okay after high school. If you need to take more time to figure stuff out, then that's what you need to do. And you're not, and I think the impression I had in my mind too is I don't know, we're always with the same people. Okay, let's see how to intellectually explain this. Okay, so, we're always with the same people in our, every moving grade year or whatever. So, I don't know, we always progress from freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. It's for, I don't know, the average person, people go into high school 4 years, or if people get held back for any reason or whatever, maybe people feel behind or something like that. But the fact of the matter is, I think it's fair to say, in college and stuff, I don't know, you're never, no matter when you decide to go to university, if you decide to do that you're not really ever behind. You're only just beginning probably something awesome and pretty cool, to invest yourself in or whatever. Because what Alex said, your degree, you said, takes 5 years, yeah?
5 years.
And some of the things that I researched at some certain trade schools I've been looking into, that some degrees are for 2 years or whatever. There's, I don't know, you're never ever behind your friends, or you're never behind anyone in your graduating class. None of that even matters anyway. It doesn't matter because there's no one after high school. You don't have to catch up with anyone or anything or whatever. Again, everything after high school, it's pretty much your pace and when you want to pursue things. And I don't know, and whatever you want to pursue, it's nothing I don't know, that you have to feel that you have to absolutely get in because all my other friends or the people in my class are already going to university right now. That's not the answer. And that will not benefit you.
Don't rush into something. It is a big decision. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of time. You really need to not that if you're in university right now and you're panicking, oh no, I don't know if I'm in this for the right reasons, you don't have to drop out or anything, but it is something that you should be giving thought to and that you should be doing for yourself and not for somebody else, and not because you think that's what you should be doing, because what you should be doing is what you want to do. And if university isn't right for you, it's just not right for you, and that's okay.
Right, absolutely. And And I guess on another thing, I don't know if oh jeez, here we go again. We're losing our thought process. Woo,
Oh,
we love
no.
that. Oh my gosh. But oh, I love that for me. Okay, but anyway, getting back onto the topic. But I don't. That's just basically the summary, though. Just take your time, as much time as you need. Just know you don't only have to go to university, and if you do, don't be ashamed about that either. Just hopefully, when you do go, you have a you have a more informed. You're very informed going into that, to that university and to the degree that you're getting into, and even when you're going into, this is what I wanted to talk about. When I think when you go into university too, like I think my friends and stuff kind of like midway into their things, like there's opportunities even still to like change your major and to kind of, and that may, since I don't go to university, I don't really know how like cost effective that is, like if that adds more to things or what, like financially or whatever. But like no matter what, it's, I don't know, humans are very complex creatures and we're always constantly learning about ourselves. Like if at some point, I think midway in your major, if you have to change it for whatever reason, things are just not right and it's not what you thought it would be, I guess like there's opportunities for that and there's ways to maneuver about that. I don't know if that would add.
I know a girl here who changed her major 9 times. You can always change your mind. And I know people here who are 18. I know people here who are 25. I know, people of all ages, people of all majors. There's always lots of options, and you're allowed to change your mind as much as you want. And you can take as much time as you need before you go in, if you decide to go in at all.
Right. Exactly. So, I don't know. If, again, when you go into stuff, try to make an informed decision about what you do, what you're doing and what you're getting into. And if at any point when you're in the middle of it, that you just find out like, oh, this is not it, fam, if you will, then you just get out of that real quick or whatever. And then you do what you need to kind of get your life back on course or whatever, and just kind of because again, everything after high school, whatever, it's whatever you make of it or whatever, so you deserve to do everything and anything to make sure your quality of life after high school is how you want it to be and at the pace you're able to achieve it and everything else. And so that's
and even in high school, if you're in a club or a class that you really don't like and you're like, oh man, like this was a mistake, I don't know how, there's always a way out of it. You talk to whoever you need to talk to and do whatever you need to do, but you can get a different class, you can get a different teacher for that class, you could take it online, you can always leave a club, don't ever feel pressured to stay in a club. I know I dropped out of a club here the day before it started, like the very last second I could physically drop out of it, and that's okay. If it's too much, if it's too stressful on you, just don't do it. It's okay. It's okay to need time for yourself and to need to put your energy into different things.
Right. Even in high school and especially after high school, don't try to ever force yourself to doing stuff you don't want to. There's just no benefit or whatever. Like it may, I don't know. Like I just remember my school counselors and stuff all the time. It's like, oh, if you're going into I don't know, if you're going into like this profession or whatever, maybe you want to take this calculus class or this, I don't know, this really big wig math class or this whatever art class or whatever, and just, I don't know, if it's nothing you want to do and not like, and you're just gonna dread it or whatever, and if you're in it right now and you're dreading it, like do whatever you need to change and stuff. I don't care what your guidance counselors and stuff think. Not to say that you shouldn't heed, people's advice when they give it, consider what people are saying, because they're adults too, and like, they know a thing about maneuvering through the world, they have a perspective, but maybe
they'll
your
definitely,
perspective.
they
Yeah, go ahead.
definitely understand your credits better than either of us will. So if it is the worst case scenario and you need to stay in the class, then you do need to stay in that class to graduate. Then sorry, but you're gonna have to stay in there. But yeah, like Devin said, at least take their words and like process them and listen to them and consider them in your decision. But if you do decide that it's better to drop the class, then that's okay too.
Right, exactly. I mean, yeah, I guess that is also to make that point too. It's just like, I mean, not everything you can just like, okay, can't.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in it. Done. I mean, sometimes that's not always an option or whatever. But I guess just if there is an option, feel free to consider it if that's something you feel like you need to consider at least. And if you don't see a possible way out of it, maybe search for it. And if there isn't, then there isn't. But just know that it's temporary.
There will always be help if there's no way out. Your teachers can help you, and your guidance counselor can help you, and other people can help you get through this awful class, even if you can't drop it.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's nothing in high school or even after this, after your life in high school is impossible, like absolutely impossible. There's definitely, I don't know, we live in a world, fortunately, that there are many resources available to us, and there's many people out there to help us or whatever. And a lot of it, if you're listening to this right now, it's all at the access of our fingertips. Sometimes we have a whole database of information that's on the internet that's, we can research and find out so many things. I don't know, there's more out there than what we might often think. And so we just got to take that time to research that and just to, take the time to educate ourselves and just kind of do whatever you need to get through whatever it is that you're getting through, whether that class or whatever, or figuring out your life after high school or whatever. No shame, fam. That's the theme of this. That's the theme of this podcast. No shame.
Oh
fam.
Yeah. No shame, fam.
Because I don't know. Maybe you might have some shame, fam, for if your people are giving you a lot of shade for not, like if you don't know what you want to do after high school yet, or you haven't figured certain things out or whatever. But no one ever really does have everything figured out, no matter if they portray that to you or not. It's, we're all just trying to figure stuff out, and everything is all individual. So. But I don't know. It's a crazy world out there, or whatever, and there's much to do. There's much to take in, or whatever, and I tell you, in your life continues long after high school. I promise you. I think we can attest.
Yeah.
But man, we've been going on for quite a long time. How long has it been? Has it been an hour?
Oh wow!
Oh wow! Look at all that time go. Oh my goodness! And maybe a whole lot of that was a lot of maybe blabbering on my side, but I don't know. I felt like, but we've been getting through pretty okay, I think. Yeah, we were just been.
Break to take my medication break, because that's what my alarm was, and I'm gonna never remember if I don't do it right now.
That's okay. Totally take care of that. And man, I don't know. I just felt like we talked about a lot of things. We just kept going and going, or whatever. I had a very rough set of bullet points for this, and then even that I didn't even reference. I've just been kind of going off, but just kind of see where it goes. But I guess if we made it this far, we've been doing pretty okay. But
yeah.
I guess
if we want to record more stuff later, we can record more stuff later. If there's points that either of us comes up with, we can add those on.
In fact, I think I might have a few to spew out there or whatever.
All right.
I think.
Spew
all right.
away.
So I think we're just going to make this a very short segment at the end of this particular episode where I'm just going to spew some points. And feel free to do this too, Alex, if you have any, just that are just quick and simple and to the point.
Got it.
Number one, school dances are fun with or without a partner. And if school dances aren't your thing, that's cool too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a tip I have for you.
I agree with that tip.
What is it? Don't throw hands with anyone, please. Like, that's really lame to... I don't know, just don't fight with anyone verbally or physically. No. This not...
It's definitely not worth it. We have many fights at my old high school, and let me tell you this. Some people are only known by what happened in those fights, and you do not need that in your life.
I know. And I don't know, if by chance you happen to be listening to this and you maybe have once or twice or many a time have thrown hands, like there's always time to redeem yourself and change your character. You can do it, fam.
Stop
just not
throwing hands. There you go.
Yeah, just don't do it. Yeah, it's okay. I promise there's other ways to solve things, and like, I don't know, we all make mistakes, and you can that's one you can definitely change if that's a recurring problem at all.
It's never too late to change.
This is true. And let's see. And just reiterating certain stuff, like just friends come and go. Always remember that. I don't know. Always make room for the people that bring positive things into your life, and drop the ones that don't, because
yeah.
I don't know, too many times in my high school experience or whatever, have I wasted a lot of energy on people that just didn't totally deserve it at all. Or whatever, for a long time. And you certainly don't need to be doing that for anyone either. You do not.
We've all been there. Don't go there.
Yes, absolutely. I don't know. Always be intellectually curious and pursue those things if you are. Like, if you ever want to join that one sports team, or if you want to join that one music class, send it. Like, totally. That's what high school is all about, and that's what school is about. Just figuring out what we like and what we don't like, and
even if you do want to be, like, say, an actor, you're still allowed to take calculus. You know, you can take whatever classes you want. If you don't want to take calculus, don't take calculus. Trust me on that one.
Yeah. Just don't. Yeah, just know that you have all the time in the world, whether or not, I don't know, the authorities and stuff around you, or, I don't know, the thoughts and ideas being implemented in your head are like, oh, you absolutely have to figure this out right now. That's not realistic for a lot of people, and for the majority of people, and you don't have to have everything figured out right now. And I think even some of your, like, anyone that's like your parents or like any adult figures in your life, no one probably actually feels like they ever have it totally figured out. You know, we're all just going through the motions, if you will, or like we're all just kind of figuring out, continuously figuring out what makes sense. So, I mean,
mental health is important. If you need to see a therapist or a psychiatrist or take medication or not take medication, there's no shame in any of that.
Absolutely. Please take care of yourself and check in on your friends. Like, it's just generally, that just makes a world of a difference in someone's, even if they're not your friends and stuff too. Like, I don't know, just check in on anyone. Like, again, you know, school's hard enough as it is. It just makes, as cheesy as it might sound, again, another cheesy moment here on this podcast is that I don't know, it really does make a difference when, I don't know, you ask someone like, hey, how you doing, or how are you, and are you okay, and like being genuine about it. Like, it just I don't know, it just makes the world go around a little bit more smoother.
A good way that I liked to check in with people was if they were to miss a day of school and I noticed that they weren't there. I would text them and say, hello, I noticed that you weren't in school and I was thinking about you and wanted to make sure that you were okay. And then that opens up the opportunity for them to know that you care about them and you were thinking about them and that you missed them at school and wanted to make sure that everything was all right. And it gives them the opportunity to say, no, everything's not all right and I need you to help me with this. And you can go from there.
Absolutely. And then another thing too is to like also in all instances or whatever, just kind of just regardless or whatever, like I don't know, life's tough in all areas, socially and academically and whatever, and just in all instances, just be kind to yourself. Um, we all make a bunch of mistakes and stuff. Sometimes we accidentally hurt people, that we care
Yeah.
about or whatever, and sometimes in the moment it might have been intentional or not intentional, and just or we just I don't know, say or do things we shouldn't or whatever, and I don't know, we're a very flawed like creature. I guess that's that exists in the human race or whatever. We're always we always make mistakes and do things and stuff, and just as long as you always keep getting back up and you're always working to better reform yourself and just try something new and better, then that's all you can do, really. You can't change the past, but you can always move on for a better future. Like that's always remember. Oh boy. Oh goodness, do we have any more last minute thoughts? I don't know.
Coffee is bad, and if you aren't drinking it and you're considering starting drinking it, don't do that. That's all I have to say.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I'm not a coffee drinker. I actually had a cup of coffee today for the first time, and I don't even know how long, but I don't know, man. I just
You need it some days, but don't make it a habit. It's bad for your skin, it's bad for your brain, it's bad for your body. Like, just, drink water. Like, juice. Have something yummy.
Yes, I'm a big advocate for juice and water. In fact, and we had a school store. I've been to 2 schools in my life. One that Alex and I were actually in the same school, and then I eventually moved. But at this other school that I was at and where I graduated, they had a school store in which we had like Mountain Dew Kickstarts and stuff. And like, oh god, I don't even know. Like, there was, the products that were in there, they had to be approved by the school board and stuff and everything, and you had to meet certain like food regulations or whatever to have that in schools to begin with or whatever. But like, even if it's the more healthier option, like, you shouldn't, if you can, make the extra effort to get a better night's sleep and eat a few meals a day, please. Like, eat breakfast, like that's helpful. Put food in your body. Remember to drink water.
Pro tip, if you are constantly fatigued to the point where you are like chugging coffee, that could be a symptom of something. You should probably get that checked out. Talk to your doctors. Tell them that you've been exhausted and nothing is helping, and they will make sure that it's not anything that you need to worry about.
Right. Exactly, because if you find yourself to a point where you're dependent on that, I don't know, on that one fix of caffeine or soda or whatever it is that keeps you running, like, it's worth addressing, and you should definitely figure out and find other methods that are more, obviously much more healthier and a more organic process.
Yep.
I guess it's just functioning.
Fatigue is a symptom. Yeah. Fatigue is a symptom of like everything. So if you're fatigued and you like, okay, I've been sleeping normally, like go see someone. It's not worth it.
It really isn't. Don't, just take care of yourself. Not only mental health, of course, but physically and spiritually in all areas.
Don't go to class if you're sick. Do not go to class if you're sick.
Oh god. Oh, stay on the right side of the hall, please. That's really lame. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
don't stand in groups, set up the lockers, and block half the hallway. Be conscious of where you are in the halls. It's a small space, and everybody needs to get through it.
Exactly. And I don't know. Just people don't have. People need to get to places and stuff. You're not the only one. Just be conscious of what. Again, as Alex said, just be conscious of where you're at and what you're doing. I don't know. Please and thank you. And like the general manners, like as silly as that sounds, like that really, I don't know, teachers and just like adults in general just recognize that, and because I guess no one uses that often enough. No one just uses their manners. I guess, and I don't know, just people appreciate that. So like totally totally say your please and thank yous. I don't, as parent like as that sounds, just, I don't know, just common courtesy. Yeah.
Here's one. Emailing is not like texting. Emailing is like writing letters. So you need to be formal in your emails. Don't use abbreviations, and you need to write, hello, it's so and so from whatever class at the beginning, and you need to sign it at the end. And yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I know. It's just because it's electronic doesn't mean it's casual.
Yeah.
At all. Like, please be, especially in a school setting, for goodness sake. Please just be professional. Or whatever. Utilize that spell check.
You would be shocked. So just formal in your emails.
Mm-hmm. No IDKs or LOLs or any of that. Probably. Like, I think it's
Don't call your teachers by their first names. They do not like that. Mm-hmm. Don't do it.
No, that's not very cool of a person to be doing that.
Again, you'd be surprised.
Yeah. But and high school relationships are interesting too. I guess just enjoy them in the moment, I suppose. You know what I mean? I feel like that's probably could be something that's covered on a whole entire segment, because romantic relationships themselves are so complicated. Mm-hmm. But I guess just enjoy them in the moment, but don't, just like with friends and stuff, don't be with anyone that's just degrading or belittling of you. Like, you deserve to be with people who only, I don't know, give you the best and provide you the best in life or whatever. And if they don't provide that in any way or don't intend to, then they totally don't deserve your time.
Mm-hmm. But, your romantic partner should be like your buddy for the rest of your life. Like, you go through everything together. If they feel like an adversary, it's time to get out of that relationship. That's all I have to say.
Mm-hmm. And that is very fair advice. I've only ever been in two, I guess, very small high school relationships in my life or whatever. And it's just, I don't know, things go south or whatever. Just things go south sometimes or whatever. Not everything has to be a big dramatic fight, by the way, either. Like, it doesn't always have to be someone's fault either.
Yeah.
Not even in just like romantic relationships, or like if friendships aren't working out for any reason either, but just like, I don't know. I was never so far in my romantic anything, I guess, or whatever. No one was the evident, like, I don't know, evildoer or whatever, but like, I don't know, just understand everyone has a heart that beats and stuff and whatever too, but don't, just be mindful of your interactions and stuff, but don't take anything less than what you deserve, so.
Mm-hmm. I'd say that's some pretty solid advice.
I think so too, and I think we might end it on that note, but thanks to all for tuning in on this very fun and maybe sort of confusing episode. I don't know, man. I've just been kind of feeling this out, and I'm really excited at the direction this is going. This is a podcast meant to just have a random discussion about anything and everything that I feel like talking about with very cool friends of mine or other people that I find that are just really awesome. Like my dear friend Alex here.
Having me on.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for being on. Like, this has been a fun convo, and I think this has been, if anything, wholesome and very, I don't know, very fulfilling. Hopefully for a few of you, if not at all. No, just. But alrighty, guys, thank you so much for your time here. This is the Creating Conversation podcast. I am your host, Evan, and on that note, we conclude. Alrighty.
Alrighty.
Till next time.